Ever find yourself wishing you could read minds? Or maybe predict the impossible?
Yeah.
Well, today we're stepping into the world of mentalism to
Yeah.
see just how close we can get to, unlocking those secrets.
Right.
And to guide us, we're cracking open Practical Mental Magic by the one and only Theodore Annemann, a true legend in the field.
Oh, absolutely. This book, by the way, it's basically a masterclass in the art of deception.
Published way back in the 1930s. Talk about a vintage treasure trove.
And the best part is, Annemann, he doesn't just list tricks. He pulls back the curtain, gives us a peek behind the psychology driving them.
Okay, so less about supernatural powers, more about, skillful stagecraft.
That's it. It's knowing how to play the audience, how to really work a room.
Work a room,
Yeah.
and maybe work their minds a little, too.
Right. Exactly. Take, for instance, the Al Baker 3-billet trick from the book. Classic example.
All right, set the scene for us. How does this one go down?
Picture this. 3 people from the audience. They each jot down a card from a deck, fold those slips of paper up tight,
Okay, got a little mystery going already.
and then they tuck them into a hat. Now, the mentalist, with no apparent clue,
No peeking, I hope.
none whatsoever, they proceed to guess each card correctly, might I add.
See, now even knowing it's a trick, that's got to be impressive. How do they pull that off?
The real secret here is a little something called the one-ahead technique. It's about subtly staying a step ahead of everyone else, making it seem like they're reacting to pure chance.
When they're really the ones calling the shots.
Precisely. It's a carefully choreographed dance, but to the audience, every move seems off the cuff. And misdirection, that's our star player.
Ah, the magician's best friend.
You know it. You divert attention at just the right moment to keep the method under wraps. Like in this case, the mentalist might use a technique called palming.
Palming.
Yeah, they subtly gain control of one of those billets while everyone else is, distracted.
It's like that classic move where the magician's all dramatic with one hand while the other one's making the rabbit vanish.
You got it. We're wired to focus on the obvious, miss those subtle things happening right under our noses. That's what makes it so powerful.
So it sounds like there's a real art to this, wouldn't you say?
Oh, without a doubt. And what's brilliant about Annemann's approach is he breaks these seemingly impossible feats down into manageable steps.
And it all links back to psychology, right? How we perceive things, how our minds work.
Precisely. A successful mentalist, they're not just a technician. They're a keen observer of human behavior.
So they're watching how people react, their movements, even picking up on those subtle, unconscious cues we all give off.
You hit the nail on the head. It's almost like they're reading between the lines of our actions, getting a glimpse into our thoughts and intentions.
I don't know, that's kind of unnerving when you really think about it.
Right. But that's the allure of mentalism, isn't it? It dances on that edge between what we know is possible and what we secretly wish were true.
Speaking of blurring the lines a bit, our next trick takes us straight into spooky territory. The spirit slate writing.
Ah, yes. This one taps right into that fascination we have with the unknown.
I mean, what's more intriguing than a message from beyond the grave? Gets you every time.
Picture this. A simple slate, maybe even borrowed from someone in the audience. And then it becomes this conduit for messages from the other side.
Okay, I'm already getting goosebumps. So spill the beans. How's the ghostly communication work? Hidden compartments, trapdoors.
Well, it can vary, of course. You might have a specially gimmicked slate, like with a secret flap or a hidden section for a pre-written message.
Sneaky.
But the mechanics are only part of the equation. The real magic is in setting the right mood, managing the audience's expectations, using their own beliefs to amplify the effect.
So it's less about the props and more about crafting a whole experience, building that sense of anticipation, making the impossible seem, well, possible.
Precisely. And that's something Annemann really drives home throughout the book, the importance of showmanship, of understanding the psychology of your audience. It's about creating a narrative they can get lost in.
So every detail matters. From the words you use to even the way you move your hands, it's like a performance on multiple levels.
It is. But for now, let's switch gears to a trick that feels a bit more, shall we say, grounded in reality. Let's talk about the headline hunter.
Ooh, I like the sound of this one. A little less spooky, a little more everyday mystery.
Exactly. It's a perfect demonstration of how mentalists can take something as ordinary as a newspaper
Something everyone's seen a million times.
and turn it into a tool for the seemingly impossible.
And I think that's what's so compelling about this one, right? It's not some fancy prop, just something from everyday life. Makes it even more baffling when the trick unfolds.
Absolutely. That familiarity actually enhances the effect. Makes people think, hey, this could happen anywhere, anytime, to anyone.
Okay, now I need to know how it works. Walk us through it.
So the mentalist asks someone from the audience to pick out any word, doesn't matter which one, any word from a newspaper headline.
Talk about leaving it up to chance.
Right, completely random. But then they reveal that word. It could be written on a slate, whispered to an assistant, maybe even revealed through an object related to the word. And that's what gets people...
That how did they know moment.
Exactly. Creating that sense of genuine astonishment, it's all about the presentation, the timing.
But there's got to be a secret ingredient in the mix here, right? Another one of those clever gimmicks.
You know it. Often it involves a specially crafted slate, you see. One with a hidden flap that lets the mentalist sneak a peek at the chosen word.
While everyone else is still focused on the newspaper, none the wiser.
Exactly. But again, like we've been saying, it's not just about the mechanics. It's about weaving it all together. The mechanics, the presentation, that air of mystery, to create a truly compelling illusion.
It's like they're taking something that seems impossible, breaking it down, and showing you how it's done.
That's a great way to put it. And the best part is, these mentalism principles that Annemann lays out, they don't just apply to stage magic.
Oh, you mean there's a chance I can work these into my daily life? Tell me more.
Absolutely. Take misdirection, for instance. We tend to think of it as a magician's tool, but honestly, it's everywhere.
Really? I never thought about it like that.
Subtly shaping our perceptions, influencing our decisions, you'd be amazed.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Give me some real-world examples. Where does this misdirection pop up?
Well, look at advertising. They're masters of misdirection. Eye-catching visuals, celebrity endorsements, those catchy slogans, it's all designed to draw your attention to the good stuff.
While conveniently ignoring the not-so-good stuff.
Exactly. It's like that saying, don't hide your light under a bushel, but with a twist. More like, shine a spotlight over here so nobody notices what's happening over there.
Clever. So how do we become more aware of these tactics? How do we avoid those misdirection traps?
It all starts with awareness. Once you understand the mechanics of misdirection, you can start to see the patterns. You become a more critical observer.
So kind of like developing a mental filter.
Yeah.
A way to cut through the noise and get to what's really going on.
Precisely. It's not about being cynical, just more discerning. Asking yourself, okay, what's being emphasized here? What's being downplayed? Who benefits from me focusing on this?
I like it. Taking control of your own attention. Now, what about suggestion? That feels like a whole other level of influence, doesn't it? Tapping into the subconscious mind.
Oh, absolutely. Suggestion is incredibly powerful. The ability to plant ideas, influence feelings, even guide behaviors, all through subtle cues or even direct communication.
So we're not just talking about hypnosis here.
Not at all. Suggestion is woven into the fabric of our everyday lives. Think about how a good salesperson might guide your purchasing decision with their words, or how a therapist might use it to help a patient reframe negative thought patterns.
It's like Annemann wrote, every word, every gesture, every nuance of expression must contribute to the overall effect. They're not just talking, they're creating a sort of hypnotic atmosphere.
That's a great observation. The language of suggestion is everywhere, shaping our perceptions, influencing our choices, even impacting our physical sensations.
It's almost like a hidden language we all speak. And the more fluent you are, the more effectively you can use it.
Precisely. Which brings us to our third element, reading people. That skill, it's invaluable for navigating social situations with more awareness.
Okay, so how do we learn to decode those nonverbal cues, those subtle signals people are sending?
Well, mentalists are masters of observation, wouldn't you say? They pay attention to everything. Body language, facial expressions, tone of voice, all those tiny details that reveal what someone's truly thinking or feeling, even if they're trying to hide it.
It's like they have this uncanny ability to see beneath the surface, read between the lines.
It's not supernatural, though it might seem that way. It's about finely tuned observation skills and a deep understanding of human behavior. They know what to look for, you see. Those telltale signs that betray our true thoughts and emotions.
So what are some of those telltale signs? What should we be paying attention to?
Eye contact is a big one. It can tell you a lot. For example, someone who avoids eye contact might be feeling nervous, maybe a little insecure, whereas prolonged eye contact, it often signals confidence. Or in some cases, even aggression, depending on the context.
So it's not just about whether they're making eye contact, but the quality of it, how long it lasts.
Exactly. And then we have body language, another goldmine of information. Crossed arms can suggest defensiveness, resistance, while an open posture usually points to openness, receptivity.
Fascinating. It's amazing how much we communicate without ever saying a word.
Yeah, isn't it? And then, of course, you have micro-expressions, those fleeting facial expressions. They flash across our faces in a fraction of a second, but they can reveal volumes about our true emotions.
This is all incredibly insightful. But knowing how to spot these cues is just the first step, isn't it? The real challenge is knowing what to do with that information.
Absolutely. The goal here isn't to become a human lie detector, or worse, to manipulate people. It's about connection, about building stronger relationships.
So using these insights to enhance our interactions, not to exploit others.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we are constantly communicating, whether we realize it or not. And the more attuned we are to those signals, the more meaningful our connections with others can be.
It's like we're all part of this giant unspoken conversation, sending out signals, picking up on cues, even when we don't realize it.
It's a fascinating thought, isn't it? And it ties right back to what mentalism's all about. Understanding how we process information, how our minds make sense of the world around us.
You know, it's funny how this deep dive has taken us from seemingly impossible feats to the nuances of everyday conversation. It's like mentalism isn't just about bending spoons or reading minds. It's about understanding the very essence of how we connect with each other.
Absolutely. And in a way, just as a skilled mentalist creates those illusions of psychic abilities, we can all learn to tap into these same principles, using them to communicate better, build those strong relationships.
It's about recognizing the power we all have within us, even without needing a magic wand or a crystal ball or any of that.
Exactly. It's about seeing how we impact the world around us and how it impacts us in return.
This deep dive has really been, well, a deep dive. Makes you realize there's so much happening beneath the surface in every interaction we have.
It reminds me of that Mark Twain quote, it ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. And mentalism, I think it challenges us to question what we think we know, to look beyond what's right in front of us.
I like that. Never stop questioning, never stop exploring. So as we wrap up our journey into the world of mentalism, what's the one big takeaway you hope our listeners walk away with?
If I had to pick just one, I'd say it's the importance of curiosity. Never lose that drive to learn, to understand. Don't just accept things at face value, dig a little deeper. The more you understand about how the mind works, the more effectively you can navigate the world, wouldn't you say?
Become a student of human nature. That's a great goal to have. And hey, who knows? Maybe you'll even pick up a few mentalism tricks along the way.
No, wouldn't that be fun?
That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. We hope you've enjoyed this journey behind the curtain, uncovering the secrets of mentalism, and we hope you'll join us again next time as we explore another intriguing topic, uncovering new connections and sparking fresh insights. Until then, keep those minds curious. And remember, the most incredible magic trick of all might just be the power of the human mind.